way you do it?
Hello, Doppel here, and this is an introduction to Badwater Pro. PL Badwater Pro version 7 is a payload map and requires the UGC HL stopwatch config. Stopwatch is the game mode where both teams rush to see who can accomplish the objective in a faster time. To go over this map with me, I have a special guest, former Heavy, born-again sniper, Sharp Shot McGee. Say hi, Sharp.
Hello.
Most players are familiar with Badwater. It has been a favorite map in both pubs and 15 seasons of Highlander now. What makes this map different, Sharp?
It's the best payload map. Well, actually, I don't know about that. Upward's probably a better payload map, but it's a stable. Like, you know, everyone plays this map. Everyone pubs it pretty much every day, you know.
What differences can we expect in the Pro version compared to the Standard?
You can expect first point has a big difference, which I think teams who defending teams will really like. There's new spawns. Third has been reworked to make it easier to get to the sentry. There's a standard sentry spot that people always put their sentry on third, and it's opened up a lot more so you can easily get to it. First, the new thing on first, probably the biggest thing, is this door. You can now go through it on defense, which is a huge deal. You can't get back out though, so you have to be careful about that. Once you go through, you can't get back out unless someone lets you through. And then there's also a new spawn on first, which, you know, not many teams know about. Once you cap, I believe second. Is it second, right? When second gets capped?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get, this is a spawn now for blue team, and you can also, there's a side door right here you can also go through as well, which is all new in the Pro version.
Alright, well let's start with the meta for the first point. So most teams are still building their level 3 sentry up here with their combo holding up here. And then they have someone from their flank watching the tunnel. And then their snipers usually around here, and soldier and scout are keeping the hill clear. So on offense, the standard push is still to go up the hill, up the cliff, and push in, try to get a pyro pick or sniper pick, and get the gun and flush them out. What push would you say works best for you, Sharp?
It's very dependent on the classes you can pick. If you get the pyro, you know, going cliff works very well, honestly, if you get the pyro. If you get the sniper, I personally prefer hill over here. I find this a much better area to push from if the sniper is down. But my personal favorite has always been tunnel, with the combo going down the tunnel and just taking out the sentry from down here, and then going back and pushing uphill has always been my personal favorite once you take down the sentry.
Alright, cool. So the trick on first, or of any payload map, is knowing when to get out, which this new door that Sharp showed us helps with that. You can do kind of a soft hold and then back out. Most teams...
I was just gonna say, definitely makes it easier to get out for red now. So that is a great new addition for this map.
Here's the other new addition, is this big sniper fence here. And people are still building their sentry guns up top from what I've seen. It kind of went away for a little bit, but now with that new drop back, it's coming back. And usually you have your combo up here with your gun, watching the corner, and watching for people to come through the back. Flank is usually rotating around as needed. Can be kind of a tricky one to push. Do you, what do you recommend for pushing this point?
You know, kind of the same thing with first. Very dependent on picks. If you can get the pyro, going up the stairs, I prefer back stairs personally, but I mean, the front stairs are fine too, as long as the pyro's down. But my personal favorite is the tracks. pushing from the tracks. With this fence right here, like the sniper is no longer that big of a threat anymore for pushing tracks, so I find pushing tracks just so much better on the pro version. And even just on the basic Badwater, I still prefer pushing tracks over the stairs.
Alright, and keep in mind when they're spawning, they're coming out through this door here. So even when you're trying to clear them from the roof, you kind of have to keep an eye out on both sides. So once you get that, trying to keep your momentum going, which I think is the best offense, is just don't let them get set up. The goal is to try to get through and prevent them from building in this window, which this hallway's new now. This window's more cut out, and as you saw, there was the path around the house. Now a lot of teams really seem to struggle at this point. That's why it was changed so much, opened up, because it was very difficult. I've seen a lot of teams push through here. Now with this back side, some teams are wrapping around. And every once in a while we've tried something cheeky like pushing the tracks. What would you say is the key pick at this point for a push?
The key pick would be NG. I think the NG would be a key pick on this point because the sentry in this window is just so deadly. Although, you know, now that it's been opened up, it's a lot easier to get to. But this point is all about coordination and working with your soldier and especially your spy. Because with this whole new opened up area, it's so easy for a spy and soldier to quickly get behind the NG and just take out the sentry. So like coordinating and working with your flank is pretty much the key for this point. Like as usual, you know, a pyro, a sniper, or an NG pick are all big picks on payload. So if you get any one of those, they'll usually prompt a push, but you definitely want to coordinate with your spy and make sure he's in position to take out the sentry when you push.
Alright, last but not least is the
last
last point.
Everyone's favorite.
Yeah, and it's the same. I don't think there was any changes here.
I don't think there's any changes to last. Last is pretty standard. Very hard to break to get a proper hold.
So most teams are still building on this side. This side's still kind of easy to peek, so they're keeping the meta over here. What differentiates a strong defense on last compared to other ones you've seen, Sharp?
It's good teamwork, honestly. It's all very dependent on, you know, how well your team communicates, truthfully. It's what really determines a good last hold. Like, people underestimate how important comms are in comp, and they're so important. They really are. Like, if your comms are just constantly cluttered and no one can hear anything, you'll never get a good hold or a good push at all.
Yeah, this point can be pretty intense. It's in a bowl, so it's to the attacker's disadvantage once they get down here. There's a lot of areas that people can come through. There's the map room. They can get around to the spawn. There's the tires back here, and then of course there's main. Yeah,
that's the biggest advantage for attackers is there's just so many ways you can push. If you all push from different areas, like the flank, the combo, you could really overwhelm the defenders on this point, which I think is the biggest key.
And respawn time is really long for defense at this point, so you're better off organizing pushes on offense, even if you fail, than defense is at trading. So do you have any tips for playing this map?
Well, are we going over to the last hold or no? Just tips?
Well, yeah, like any extra tips. The last hold is usually the NG's right here.
Yeah, combo's up over here watching this corner, which is always a good thing. The biggest thing you want to be aware of on defense as the combo when you're holding this corner is the spy. The spy is a huge threat on last, especially if he comes from map room. So you want to have someone just kind of making sure, watching out for that. Aside from that, I mean, that's the basic hold. That's a good hold. I've seen all sorts of different holds, but the best one is usually sentry here, just watching map room, combo here, sniper in his usual area, either back there or over here, watching lanes, counter sniping, getting picks, Flank, I'd say flank should probably hold tire room or tires over here, because there's tires. So flank should usually be over here, but you also want to be aware of map room. So it's not a bad idea to have your flank constantly rotate between tires and map room on defense.
I've also seen a lot of soldiers and scouts that will jump up through here and come down and kind of peek the sentry while people are pushing.
That's definitely something you want to do. Like when everyone's distracted by an Uber. Like when an Uber exchange happens, everyone's paying so much attention to the Uber that if your flank can get through from the stairs over here, they can really do some work after the Uber fight.
So when you're exchanging Ubers, who's usually getting the Uber on offense and defense, like at this point, if you're holding here?
On offense, well, let's go defense first, because defense is a bit easier. So on defense, if they pop like main, usually a pyro. You want your heavy to stay out of the Uber and just usually do pyro and demo. Because the pyro can easily, stop their Uber and just keep pushing them back from getting in. Because the key on defense is you don't want them to get to your gun, pretty much. As long as your gun is alive, you're pretty much safe. So you don't want them to reach your gun. So if you're popping, if they're already in really deep, and as the defenders you're holding like over here, it's a bit late. Like you want to keep them away from your gun. You want them to be as far away as possible from your gun. So popping up over here and keeping them just completely out is much better than being forced like down here and giving them all this room. On offense, I personally prefer demo Ubers, demo and pyro. I'd say same thing for offense too. Like you don't want your heavy to really come in. You want your heavy to peak after the Uber fight is over, rather than actually be in the Uber fights.
So on defense, you said that you usually use the pyro up here. Who's supporting the NG then from the flank?
I'd say soldier usually will be watching the stairs. Because soldier, assuming your soldier's up, the soldier's usually watching tires. Like that's what our soldier does. Is he's over in a tire area, the tires, watching that whole area, and he drops back down to hang out with the NG, get heals, whatnot, and then he jumps back up. So usually in an Uber push, I'd say just have the soldier hang back and stay with your NG for a minute before he goes back. Because Pyro's just too important for pushing back Ubers. You really want him with the combo as much as possible. You want him to be protecting the gun as well, but like if you're going to go for an Uber exchange, like if it's called that they're coming in, you want your Pyro up front with the demo, ready to air blast the Uber back. So I would say just have your soldier or scout hang back and stay with the NG until after the Uber, and then they can go back and help, watch the flanks, secure everything.
I think I've seen a lot of teams who get overzealous on defense. They get a better Uber, and they chase, and they end up dying trying to get kills. I just want to point that out because Sharp, as he was showing, was just peeking the corner and not going any farther.
Yeah, you don't want to chase too hard. Chasing tends to really get you all killed is the problem. Like on defense, you're defending. That's your job, is to defend the point, not to go chase and get kills and make sure you kill everything. It's just to defend. So as long as you're keeping them out and they're not able to do anything, you're doing your job, whether you get kills or not. You don't need to go and chase and try to get the medic. Like if you get the medic, great, but don't overdo it. Even if your Uber is better, just push them out. and then get back to your positions and just keep waiting. Keep building Uber and just keep them out. Don't let them get in. The more ground you give them, the worse off you are. Like, you don't want to be giving them ground, but you don't want to be chasing either. You have to find that balance of, keeping them out, but not overdoing it, not chasing for frags and getting yourself and possibly your medic caught out.
This last hold is a really good hold. I've had teams hold it for 12, 14 minutes. So, I think that that covers the basics. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Not really. Just, like I said, on payload, it's especially important to just not chase. Don't get overzealous. Don't be chasing for the frag. Just, especially on defense. You just don't want to be doing that kind of stuff. And, that really needs to be said over and over again. Because so many teams do that. And then they end up losing last because of it. Or end up losing points because they just get overzealous and start chasing too hard.
Alright, well this has been a quick guide to Badwater Pro. Thank you, Sharp.
You're not welcome. No, I'm kidding. You're welcome.